What's up? It's Bernard from everydaycarry.com, and in today's video, I'll be breaking down a bunch of sick EDC setups submitted by our amazing community. And in case you didn't know, people have been sending me photos of their EDCs and asking for my opinion on them since like 2009, back when I was posting all this stuff on Tumblr. So it's a fun way to learn about EDC in general and discover great gear in context that's vetted by real people. And I'll put links to each submissions page on everydaycarry.com so you can learn more about each setup. And I'll also have affiliate links to my favorite gear in the description of this video, which would help support the channel if you choose to use those. And I'll also include a link to where you can share your EDC with me for a chance to be featured in more of these community showcases. All right, so let's jump into the first EDC. This is a super clean, high-vis, orange and silver setup from Steven, a lawyer in St. Louis. He's also a self-proclaimed novice EDC enthusiast, and he put this setup together as a tribute to his son who's away on a church mission in California. So in this carry, we see the Vosteed Marden as Steven's knife of choice, which is an excellent bang-for-buck EDC knife. I carried one for a bit, and I really like the robust yet lightweight, grippy milled aluminum handles, the sensibly sized sub 3-inch blade, and convenient top liner lock. Next, Steven carries a Leatherman Wingman for multi-tool duty. Kind of a slept-on model from Leatherman. It's not the most popular, but it works for Steven. And because it doesn't have as many tools or advanced features as something like a Wave or Arc, it's more affordable at $70 and more pocket-friendly too at under 4 inches closed and only 7 ounces. So it's a great basic multi-tool. Lastly, he's rocking a Seiko SSK-005 diver with an orange dial for legibility, 100 meters water resistance, and GMT function. This is sort of a spiritual successor to the beloved SKX diver series, but admittedly not as crazy of a value given its $475 MSRP. So Steven uses the GMT function to track a second time zone where his son is. So there's a lot to love about this sort of setup. First, there's the utilitarian aspect. All your functional bases are covered. Maybe you could just use like an orange flashlight of your choosing. Then there's the aesthetic cohesion of the high-vis orange throughout. But most importantly is the intention and personal connection behind this to his son. From the little worry stone with their family motto on it and how he uses his watch to track what time it is where his son is. I just think that's a wholesome way to bring some meaning to the things we carry beyond their functional purpose. So thanks for sharing, Steven. You can catch more of his stuff at EDC_ESQ, like EDC Esquire, on Instagram. All right, let's jump into the next one. So this is a simple and durable EDC from Andrzej, an aircraft mechanic in Poland. So Andrzej says he prefers tested and reliable gear for the job. What do we got going on here? So I'm going to point out his knife and light duo since they share that slim candy bar form factor that makes them really easy to carry in the pocket. The knife is the Kershaw Livewire 9000. It's an OTF or out the front automatic knife. It's got a 3.3-inch spear point blade done up in CPM MagnaCut, a top-tier super steel that doesn't compromise on edge retention, corrosion resistance, or toughness. Then it's paired with the Streamlight Wedge XT flashlight, which boasts a 500 lumen output. It's a simple, rugged EDC light for people who want no-frills performance instead of confusing user interfaces and RGB fidget spinners built right into them. And also, it's in that rectangular form factor, which is a flashlight trend that I think is here to stay. Lastly, I'll call out the Fisher Bullet Space Pen. You've probably seen this before, but it is the quintessential EDC pen. Super compact, writes reliably in all conditions, and it's not too expensive either. You know the lore. It went to space. So if it's good enough for aliens, it's probably good enough for EDC. And aside from this trio, I like how some of these items just tie into the aerospace theme, like the space pen, the remove before flight keychain. And this used to be a meme. Everyone had this in their EDC. The graphic on the wallet, you know. So thanks for sharing the setup with us. And we'll move on to the third EDC. Here's an EDC built for all-day performance from ngethsambo in Minnesota. They say they wake up before sunrise, and in the Midwest winters, I can only imagine how dark and cold it gets there, so their gear choices make a lot of sense. First, there's the Surefire E1B Backup MV. The guest says you can't go wrong with Surefire, and that's probably why they have 2 of them in this setup. The backup is a compact single 123 light with a 400 lumen high mode and a 5 lumen low mode. And the MV in the name means max vision, which basically refers to the optics and beam profile of this light. It's more even and uniform than most lights, which tend to have a brighter, concentrated hotspot surrounded by this spill. So max vision is just optimized for close to medium lighting tasks. And for their watch, they've got the Luminox authorized for Navy use 4221. Luminox watches are super tooly and legible, which is great for EDC, especially in dark conditions like in the Midwest. And it's got huge Arabic numerals, and they're illuminated with tritium tubes, which don't require charging from an external light source like traditional Lume does. Plus, Plus, it's a quartz watch, which makes it more affordable and accurate and low maintenance compared to mechanical watches, but I won't open that can of worms here. And lastly, the pen is the Fisher Space Pen Clutch, which has a bigger form factor than the popular Bullet, but it's still durable and able to write in all conditions, including extreme cold. ngethsambo says they use the pen when they need to write important messages that won't be encrypted. So one thing I love about this submission is that they mentioned they wear a watch because they practice an out of sight, out of mind approach. So instead of pulling out their phone to check the time, they just glance at the wrist and stay focused on the task at hand. It's a great reminder since it's so easy these days to get distracted by our phones. So thanks so much for submitting this EDC, and we'll jump into the next one. So here's an office-friendly pocket dump from Christian, a marketing director in Southern California. Kicking things off is the SBK Lamia Gen 4. It's an American-made mid-tech folder with a 3.3-inch blade, which Christian admits is kind of pushing it in terms of length for office carry. The ergonomics on this look real comfy, and I appreciate the intricate striation on the blade, the micro milling on the handle, and that waveform-like texture for added grip. And working in an office is easy justification for a nice pen, and Christian opts for the Tactile Turn switch. Tactile Turn is also an American-made brand known for their precision-made pens, but this one features a unique light switch-esque mechanism to deploy the ink cartridge for some unique fidget factor. And rounding out the office carry is a real nice watch, the Panerai Luminor Marina PAM 69. Tons of wrist presence, even at 40mm thanks to the Luminor cushion case design, but a bit more sophisticated with the small seconds complication and date function that's always handy to have in an office environment. It's built tough for EDC though, and it has 300 meters of water resistance. So I like Christian's quality over quantity approach to this tight, focused, and considered EDC. But he did mention he wants to downsize the carry even further. I would just say ditch the mini pry bar easily. But if it actually stops you from using your knife or pen to pry, then it's probably worth keeping. So shoutouts to Christian for sharing, and you can follow him on Instagram at pocketdumpdiary. Last but not least, we got a stunner of a photo. This is what an industrial designer in Colorado carries every day. Shoutouts to Vin for sending this stunning photo over. It's just dripping with design value. Just one look and you can tell he values functional, well-designed gear, and a lot of it is German design too. So starting off with this German watch, the Zinn U50 SDR. Such an amazing, distinct design language that's unmistakably tooly. 500 meters of water resistance, corrosion-resistant case made of submarine steel, tegimented rotating bezel, super legible dial. It's just beautiful as it is functional. So right next to it is the Vera Craftform compact screwdriver set. Sometimes when you want the right tool for the job, get a dedicated version of that something instead of a multi-tool with that function for the sheer performance upgrade alone. This is another great example of that with German-made gear. The fountain pen here is also German design, but I did want to call out this pill organizer up top. This is the PillyPal V1, which is a cleverly designed storage solution for different meds. I love that you can have little labels for each compartment. Not enough people think about personal care or first aid in their EDC, and sometimes it isn't even for emergencies, it's just getting older. But there's so much good stuff here, I just don't have the time to go through every item, but it's clear that Vin has a great eye for well-designed gear. I love the synergy in the iconic German tools, and especially for putting the pill organizer on my radar. I love finding out about new gear from the community, so thanks for sharing, Vin. Okay guys, that wraps it up for our first EDC community showcase video here on the channel. Huge shout out to everyone who submitted their setups. There was a ton of variety and some really well thought out gear choices in this batch. Let me know in the comments which carry was your favorite, or if there's something here that caught your eye for your own EDC. If you want to see more of these EDC breakdowns or even submit your own carry for a future video, head on over to everydaycarry.com or follow me on socials linked in the description. And if you enjoyed this type of video, please subscribe, as it lets me know what type of content you guys find most helpful for me to make more of. I can't wait to share the next batch of awesome EDCs with y'all, so until then, peace.